In this video, we are going to take a look at a set of stairs you might be able to build with a couple of planters that are also stepping to the same path of the stairs. Now, I am going to do a couple of these videos with different methods of assembly. However, I will not be providing you with step-by-step instructions on how to assemble it, because I do have other videos at our website that will provide you with that information. And the first thing I want to point out is that the tread does not need to stick past the planter box, and it could actually be even with it if that was the type of design you were looking for. And in our example, we have a 10-inch tread with a 1-inch overhang, and the riser height is 7.5 inches. Which means that the planter boxes would also be the same distance. And if you notice here, I have 2 stringers. That is probably not going to be enough. And in the next example, we will be adding a center stringer. And at the bottom here, I have a miter cut. And this cut, the way it is, might be difficult for you to do. However, it might not be if you cut a 45-degree angle at both ends, meaning this piece here and the other piece going all the way through. Because this might make it a little tougher when you have this overhang here. So again, if you want it to look really primo and impress all your fellow woodworker friends, then do it like this. And then they will probably wonder just how in the heck you did it. And we're just kind of taking the stairway apart, remove the planter face boards, and next up we will be removing the soil and then the side supports that will be holding the soil in to the planters. And I need to point out that these side supports are actually the same size as this stringer here without the notches in it. So you could simply grab your stringer pattern and then lay it on top of another 2x12 or whatever you're using for your stringers, and then simply mark the top 2 sections here and the bottom sections here to make it a little less complicated when building something like this. And of course, you will need to figure out how to design the stair stringers, and I do have other videos on that, along with a book on how to build and frame straight stairs that will be helpful. And when it comes to setting the stringers, you can simply put them in place and then make sure that each one of the treads are level to provide you with an exact location of where it's going to be located, and then drive some stakes into the ground and then attach the stringers to the stakes with either screws, nails, or bolts that go all the way through the stakes and the stringers. And keep in mind that any lumber touching the ground is probably going to need to be treated or ground rated pressure treated lumber. Otherwise it is going to rot and you're going to have to replace it a little sooner. And of course, here's an example of the stakes with the screws in them. And make sure that you move the stakes back far enough. We need to move it back 1.5 inches so that our planter support boards that will be holding the dirt back will be able to attach to the stringers. So after you have this firmly secured and it's level, you can go ahead and install the treads, and those can be attached with screws or nails also. And probably going to be better to use galvanized stainless steel or maybe even zinc coated fasteners like the nails or screws for outdoor projects like this one. And then we can go ahead and install all of our planter support boards. And of course, you can attach these boards to the stakes again with your choice of fasteners. And you can drive screws straight into the stakes or angle them into the stake. But either way you do it, make sure that the screws are actually attaching to something. And yes, I've seen plenty of people build this stuff where the screws are just barely on this side and really not doing anything. So another thing you can do will be to drive the screws in from this side, and it might not be a bad idea to pre-drill holes so that you don't end up splitting the lumber. And after you have the planter support boards where you want them, you can go ahead and attach the side boards to your planter. And of course that can be done with screws. And if you aren't using pressure treated lumber, I would suggest using screws so that you can pull any part of the stairway planter assembly apart and replace the damaged boards as needed. That's not going to be as easy with nails. And after you have everything firmly secured, you can backfill it with whatever soil you're going to use. Just make sure that you don't backfill the area under the stairs. And as part of the maintenance on this stairway, make sure that you remove any debris that could be touching your stair stringers, especially if it's construction standard lumber and not pressure treated lumber, so that it doesn't rot as fast as some of the other stuff in here that's going to be remaining wet over a longer period of time, because you're going to be watering it to grow stuff. And the last thing I want to mention before wrapping this video up is that you can change the length of these planter boxes to make them a little smaller or a little longer by just simply increasing the length of your planter support boards. And of course you can do the same thing with the stairway. You can make it smaller or longer, or wait for our next videos and check them out if you're looking for a different type of design.